peaches. I love them. The fruit itself, that iconic color, a crisp peach tea, a warm peach cobbler. Bowser's Ballad is even incredible. You name it, if it's peach-oriented, I probably like it. Heck, we even named our cat Peach. But when someone says peach, nothing comes to mind faster than the Mushroom Kingdom's royalty, Yay! Princess Peach. It's always such a novelty when you get to play as Princess Peach. Don't get me wrong, there are no shortage of games where she's playable. Outside of her typical appearances in multiplayer games like Mario Party, sports titles, and platformers like Super Mario Bros. Wonder, she's a playable party member in both Mario plus Rabbids games, Super Mario RPG, and even in Super Paper Mario. But despite her status and popularity, there's only been one game in which she's been the main character. Super Princess Peach for the Nintendo DS. Now this is a game I've always wanted to play through and I've just never got around to beating. It's a relatively simple 2D platformer with a neat emotion-based system that grants Peach some new abilities, allowing her to solve puzzles and traverse stages in new ways. These emotions, called vibes, consist of joy, gloom, calm, and rage. And although it's not the most progressive, especially by today's standards, it's still a pretty cute and unique system. With Mario being captured this time around, it's up to the princess and her talking parasol, Perry, to save the day. The game is pretty fun and boasts some wonderful pixel art and beautiful pastel colors, but we'd have to see if this game truly passes the vibe check in another video. So grab your popcorn and tickets because we are taking a look at Princess Peach's latest and greatest adventure, Princess Peach Showtime, for the Nintendo Switch. Now this was unveiled in a Nintendo Direct back in June of 2023, and it honestly looked amazing. The problem was I had no idea what I was looking at. The first few trailers did very little in communicating what kind of game this would be. Was it a platformer? Was it an action-adventure game? Was it a minigame compilation? Yes. It's kind of all of those things. The game does so much and experiments with so many different gameplay styles that it does sort of feel like a minigame compilation at times. But I honestly mean that as a compliment. Minigames as in genuinely bite-sized games, not something akin to like a Mario Party minigame. Does that make sense? It feels like Detective Peach or Princess Peach Bake Off could have been like their own titles. Our story begins with Princess Peach enjoying a picture-perfect Mushroom Kingdom afternoon when a faithful toad offers her a flyer for the mysterious Sparkle Theater. With luggage in hand, they arrive at the venue. Well, not her hand, her little servants carry her bags. Inside, Peach chats with a few of these cute little theater employees called Beats until Toad grabs their tickets. But disaster strikes when the evil Madame Grape and her minions, the Sour Bunch, arrive, ruining their plays and plunging the Sparkle Theater into chaos. All hope is not lost though. You're then met with Stella, a Sparkle Sprite and guardian of the Sparkle Theater. Can I just say she is absolutely adorable. She kind of reminds me of Starlo from Bowser's Inside Story, but somehow she's much cuter. Stella grants Peach the ability to use sparkle powers with her new ribbon, which can help to defeat enemies, rescue feats, and restore each of the theater's various plays. Visually speaking, I think this game is kind of a mixed bag. On one hand, the CG cutscenes are absolutely beautiful. They're brimming with all of the charm, stunning lighting effects, and great animation you'd expect from a Nintendo product. On the other hand, though, I was a little taken aback at how muddy and low-res the minute-to-minute gameplay first appears. There are a fair amount of jagged edges and some noticeable blur on Peach especially. It's a real shame too because it genuinely feels like the hardware is letting the developers down here. The game is visually dazzling with some really lovely lighting and particle effects, but it just seems to be held back a bit by hardware that is more than ready for an upgrade at this point. It might be worth mentioning that I play on a 65-inch display, but I did find the blur pretty noticeable even in handheld mode. While it doesn't support a buttery 60 frames per second, the game is more than playable at the mid 25 to 30 frames per second range. It will occasionally stutter or drop a frame every now and again, but it's never enough to impact the overall performance. The good news? I completely stopped noticing this after just the first few minutes, and especially so when we jumped into the more action-packed segments. Again, it's a mixed bag because despite the hiccup with the resolution, I think it's a beautiful and stylish game with a ton of really sweet details. Being a theater-centric experience, each level really leans into that stage production aesthetic. I love how you can tell that the various buildings in the background of levels are crafted facades, or how the clouds and thorns in the sky of the sword fighter stages are papery background elements. It goes even further too. The use of spotlights following Peach and the enemies really enhances the Broadway feel that this game is going for. Some of my favorite details regarding this aesthetic are when you can see flying enemies and objects strung by a wire, or how they achieve other practical effects, like Ninja Peach using these little leaf props to sneak around, or these streamers that give a great rippling water effect. The developers left no stone unturned here. Sometimes you can even see little mechanisms that operate some of the larger set pieces and the stage curtain as a backdrop. That's so cool. Sparkle Theater must have a fat budget because I don't know how they got a whole waterfall and an entire undersea mermaid cove on stage. Each level is wonderfully designed and well themed to match each of Princess Peach's ensemble powers too. Naturally, the Ninja stage features all of the trimmings you'd expect. Beautiful cherry blossom trees, lots of bamboo, and traditional Japanese architecture. The Patissiere stages present a sugary wonderland of warm baked treats and colorful candies. Probably my favorite of all though, the figure skater areas bring players to a frosty, Christmassy village complete with decorated trees, strings of lights on bushes, and a super neat snowy effect. It looks just like those projectors that people shine on their homes. Goodfeel must clearly know the way to my heart because I have such a soft spot for any food-based area in games, and snow levels are just my absolute favorite. That said, the stages do take some surprising turns too. For example, there's a spooky castle stage and some Halloween fun to be had in the second Patissiere stage. Each is just such a joy to explore, and the handcrafted look of each stage really gives this game a unique look. Musically speaking, this game has an absolutely wonderful score. Having a fully orchestral soundtrack is really fitting for a game based on theatrical productions, and with each stage and area being so thematically different, they've had to explore a vast range of different musical styles. From dusty Wild West guitar themes, bombastic Persona 5-esque thief music, to the more mellow accordion jazz of the patisserie stages, and possibly the holliest and jolliest theme I've heard since Snowball Park in Mario 3D World. The soundtrack here is insanely high quality stuff. There's just a total sense of whimsy and lightheartedness that really lends itself well to the overall vibe of this title. I always feel that mainline Nintendo adventures have incredible soundtracks, but I was genuinely surprised at just how good this one is. Since we're talking audio, I do think it's really funny that Peach's jump sound effects sound so crunchy and compressed. I just had to point that out. The gameplay here is probably the hardest thing to define. If I had to put a label on it, I'd say it fits best under 2.5D action platformer, but again, each ensemble and gameplay style plays very different from the next. Generally, you'll make your way around the Sparkle Theater, entering various plays in an effort to restore order to the theater and ultimately rescue the Sparklas, literally feats in a costume, star actors that were to be featured in each themed production. Of course, your goals will change from level to level too. In one case, Detective Peach is solving a whodunit in an art gallery, or in another, Mermaid Peach uses her angelic vocals to guide schools of fish along to ensure that the show goes on for an underwater concert. One of the funniest for me was using Mighty Peach to punch a literal alien spacecraft. I mean, what can't this woman do? The gameplay always varies, but each one feels great to control, and to me, no style felt like a weak link. The stages are such a joy to explore because there are quite a few things to see and collect. Each area has a ton of stage elements that Peach can interact with using a ribbon, which will usually lead to a few coins or in some cases a sparkle gem, the game's core collectible. Most often you'll get these for completing a mandatory portion of the level. Some of these are pretty tricky to find though. There are certain suspicious spots that will vibrate the controller, and when posed in with Peach will lead to a secret area sometimes containing a sparkle gem. In addition to those, each level has a hidden mustachioed thief with a dress ribbon or Stella ribbon, granting Peach a brand new dress pattern and for Stella, various ribbon colors. Each pattern ties into a design reminiscent of the stage theme, and these are super fun to collect. Hidden ribbons aren't the only ways to get new outfits for our heroes though. There's also a little shop on the first floor of the theater that sells additional patterns, so better save all those coins if you want to buy them all. Dress rehearsals, or basically challenge stages, are our final way of unlocking pretty patterns for Peach and Stella. Each rehearsal will put your mastery of an ensemble to the test, and getting gold on some of these actually took me a few tries. After clearing all the stages on a floor, a boss door will appear, and these fights were all super fun. They follow the typical Mario formula of being 3-hit wonders, but each foe had a unique design and some really neat attacks. Boss fights for me are just another aspect of the gameplay that shined especially bright. So all in all, there's a fair amount to see and do in Princess Peach Showtime. In terms of replay value, there's an easy-to-access menu that keeps track of your progress, so it makes going back and grabbing those missing collectibles a piece of cake. Of course, it is a bit on the shorter side, so your mileage will vary with how far you can stretch the game's runtime. So I do wish it were just a bit longer because you can probably knock this out in just a couple of sittings. Honestly, I went in with really middling expectations for Princess Peach Showtime, and I came away really surprised at how much fun I was able to have with it. I'm a man in my late 20s and I had an absolute blast with it. So I certainly wouldn't ride with the narrative that this game was marketed for or can only be enjoyed by young girls. I'm not trying to be overly punny here, but I do find it especially fitting that Good Feel was the developer on this one because it's 100% a feel-good game. I mean, you can't help but grin while playing this. So in my mind, having worked on both Yoshi's Woolly World and Yoshi's Crafted World, and even Kirby's Epic Yarn, they've added another impressive game to their resume with Princess Peach Showtime. And I can't wait to see what they'll work up next. Maybe even Princess Peach Encore. Who knows, this might even be the start of a new series for Princess Peach. She's more than proved that she's ready for the limelight with this one. So what did you guys think? Did you pick this one up? If not, maybe I convinced you to give it a shot. Leave a comment below and let me know. Also, let me know your favorite Princess Peach transformation. I think I'm torn between Patissiere Peach and Figure Skating Peach. If you stuck around till this point, thank you so much for seeing this video through and for all the love on the Persona 3 Reload video that I uploaded recently, which you can watch somewhere here. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and please subscribe for more content like this. I'll be back with another one real soon. So thank you guys so much again for watching. Be good. Bye-bye.